This is the new Silverado EV, and you can rent one from Hertz for your next business or family trip. But should you? Let's find out. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jonathan. I'm a wildlife ecology professor showing you how to build the wild kitchen. Okay, so this video is a little bit different from my usual content, but I'm really excited about electric vehicles, mainly because I plan for my next vehicle to be one. And one of the things that I really like about the Silverado is that it has a range that beats almost anything that's out there. And being somebody who is interested in wild foods, who is going to remote places, and has a need for hauling large animals, the appeal of an EV truck is pretty strong. So when I had to rent a vehicle for a presentation I was giving for my day job, I was really pleased to, well, let me just show you.
Okay, so in Atlanta on a work trip and renting from Hertz, and just found out that I got the new Chevy Silverado electric truck, which is bonkers because I wanted a Tesla Model Y because I was worried about range going to a semi-remote area in Alabama to give a talk. So I didn't necessarily want to drive the EV6 because charging is not that great, but the Silverado truck should be enough to get me there and back. It's going to be interesting to drive this thing in the city, but I'm really excited that I get a chance to test this out. So yeah, let's go see it. Here it is, Silverado EV. Woo, that's clean. So I'm not sure if this is the utility truck or if this is the like consumer truck. So yeah, it's clean though. Okay, I'm in the truck. Lots of space. It's hot. I'm gonna try to get this thing on so I can figure out what's going on. But wow, this is pretty dope. All right, I'm waiting in line, but I got everything situated. I didn't think that this car had Apple CarPlay, but it does. I do think I have the utility version and not the like consumer production version, but so far is dope as hell. Real quiet, real smooth ride. I don't know that I can adjust my seat height, which is a little bit annoying right now, but I probably can. But anyway, this is a lot of vehicle. It's really big, but it drives smooth. The handling is really nice so far. So we'll just see how it goes.
Okay, so this episode is about reviewing the Silverado EV for a more practical application than hauling a bunch of lumber. So I'm going to talk about the features of this vehicle, give you a few stats on the range and usability, talk about the cost, and then give you my final verdict for the Silverado EV as a rental vehicle. So you can determine that if for your next business trip you want to check out this highly capable and really large EV. One nice driving feature about this vehicle is the lane keep assist, which there's some touches on here that I just didn't expect to see on such a utilitarian vehicle. And so the lane keep assist on the Silverado is pretty good. I'm kind of going around a curve here and I'll just sort of like have my hand off the wheel and I'm kind of getting recentered here. It's not as good as Kia's or Hyundai's lane keep assist, but it's more than I would expect for such a utilitarian vehicle. The car keeps you in the lane, and that's something that's another safety feature that I really appreciate in this vehicle. Again, especially being a rental, you're unfamiliar, you like having these features in here that are going to keep you a little bit safer. Another thing that was unexpected with the Silverado EV is the motorized steering wheel adjustment. So it telescopes not with like a lever and you sort of manually doing it, but it's motorized, and that's kind of nice too. Hey folks, I just wanted to take a break and let you know that one of the best ways to get the most out of the content on this channel is to subscribe to my newsletter. Every Sunday, I give you more depth and insight into the topics I cover on Out There JCH, including thoughts and perspectives that I don't really share on this platform. The newsletter is free to sign up, and as an incentive to becoming a subscriber, I'm offering a free wild food resource guide that will help make you a more capable harvester and home cook. Just click the link in the description to sign up. Okay, let's get back to the episode. Yeah, I mean, the steering is really nice. Excuse the camera angle because I didn't really come prepared to film this properly, but steering is really nice. It's light. You know, it's a very drivable big ass truck, I guess is what I can say about it. Very smooth. And let's see, I'm out on the highway here, so I'm gonna give it some beans just a bit. And yeah, it doesn't pull as quickly as a lot of other electric vehicles, but that's to be expected because this is, I don't know what, a 6,000 pound truck, a 3 ton truck. So it's pretty heavy. It's very drivable for a big vehicle. So I can appreciate that quite a bit. Yeah, the wind up sound of the engine when it's getting going is pretty sweet. Um, I don't know if the speakers is picking up, but they get up to 91, 90 miles an hour pretty quickly for a truck that weighs this much. Okay, I've had the truck for almost a full day and driven it about 120 miles. And I got to talk quickly because it's hot in northern Alabama right now. But overall, I'm really enjoying it. The best thing about this truck is the range. I've driven it, like I said, about 120 miles or so, and I still have 283 miles of range. Definitely feels like the massive truck that it is, but it's also got some nice features that keep you safe on the road. There's this vibration force in your seat that moves whenever you're getting ready to make a move that might get you into trouble. So if you're changing lanes without using your signal, it'll vibrate on that side of your butt cheek, or vibrate on the right butt cheek if you're moving to the right in a danger zone, and vibrate on your left butt cheek if it moves to the left. There's also sort of like a collision avoidance feedback. So if you're following too close, or if a car is coming up fast, the bottom of the seat in the middle will vibrate. So that's a nice safety feature for such a big vehicle. Is it practical? I mean, not really, unless you actually plan to do a job that involves hauling something. But like I really wonder why Hertz bought these vehicles. I wonder who they imagine is going to be renting something like this for a particular job. It just seems very niche to have a couple of Silverado EVs, other than the fact that people just love trucks. Maybe they want to ride around in one of these things. And if you've got 5 adults, there's plenty of space back here. I'm gonna get back there and show you all how much space there is. This is a no frills vehicle. There's not a lot of luxury features here. You can't raise the seat, the driver's seat, or at least I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So that's not great. All of the materials are hard plastic. Here on the door panels, you can see it's all hard plastic stuff. It's not fancy, but it's a nice experience. If you were flying to a place where you needed a vehicle to haul something, you could definitely haul some stuff in this truck and go a long distance. It's quick. Okay, in terms of like display and controls, like you can see, we've got wireless Apple CarPlay, which is fantastic. And when we go to CarPlay, we can see that things are pretty snappy. There's a little bit delay, but again, like this is a utility vehicle, it's a work truck, so you don't maybe expect all of those things to be really snappy. But you've got your Apple CarPlay. It's wireless, which is awesome, and it's really good. In terms of like the other features on here, once Apple CarPlay is in a vehicle, I tend not to care about anything in terms of the entertainment or infotainment system. I'm really appreciative of this 360 camera. So the camera systems on this vehicle are really excellent. And especially with a vehicle this big, having this bird's eye view version is really awesome to really help make sure that you're doing the right things. But you've got blind spot cameras here. You've also got kind of forward and backward to get a better picture of what's going on. And let's see, we've got trailer view down here. So if I was pulling something, but I think this is something that you need on a vehicle this size to be able to see where you're going, especially if you're not used to driving a truck. So that's really cool. In terms of other stuff, there's Google Assistant stuff, there's Play Store, there's charging. I'm not actually going to charge this vehicle because I prepaid for it, which is something you should not do for an electric vehicle, because the prepay price for Hertz is $100 freaking. And I know that I could have charged for a lot less than that. So if you're renting an electric vehicle, don't pay for your charge. You'll save yourself some money. But you can see when plugged in, your vehicle will charge to 100%, which will give you 438 miles. That's pretty incredible for an electric vehicle. And I think for them to be competitive for gas powered vehicles, you need ranges that are like 350 and up. Like that's really gonna, I think, make things interesting for a lot of people. So I'm not gonna charge this vehicle. There are not a lot of like Electrify America charge points here. There's a Tesla place here, but they don't have the adapter for a Tesla vehicle. And I don't know that this truck accepts that. So in terms of like infotainment, this is pretty nice. There's a Alexa, some other settings in here. Let's see. You got a Wi-Fi hotspot, which is really nice. Let's look at their own Maps program. It's Google Maps, but then you have to have a subscription for that. So that's a little bit weird. So let's go back home. Let's see. My Chevrolet. That's probably something like if you own the vehicle, but let's see what that is, what that's all about. Right. So sign in, owner center. Okay. So yeah, you've got schedule service, manage Wi-Fi, and it's chugging a bit, so it's not great, but none of these are things that, you know, a renter is going to have to go through. There's Google stuff on here, news and all that stuff. Again, I don't really care about any of this stuff because I'm just using Apple CarPlay, so that's what's really important to me. You've got settings here, vehicle, oh, that's interesting, teen driver, rear seat room, air quality, collision detection systems. This is something that you want to definitely have. So there's a lot of good safety systems on here, which is something that you want to see, especially if you have a rental vehicle. So we're in settings. Let's see, how do we get back? We'll just go home. Yeah, so that's kind of it. The display is kind of nice. You've got your speed, whether or not you're charging or draining the battery or charging the battery is really nice. You've got your charge level here on the left. You know, like very utilitarian, not a whole lot of frills and stuff like that. I think in the production or the consumer version, this is where you'd have the heads-up display equipment. But yeah, air conditioning is really nice, and I really like having these actual physical controls. So those are easy to find. The AC blows really nicely. You've got different modes here, and definitely going to be important to have good AC while you're there. And I like having these physical controls instead of having to go into the menu to find stuff. Really appreciated. The steering wheel's got your basic stuff. Cruise control, which for me on the highway didn't really kind of kick in. I had to like press these buttons twice, which actually made me really nervous. I didn't want to then use the cruise control because I have this fear of like an all electric vehicle, system malfunction, and you not being able to like get out of cruise control. So I just left it off, but it would be nice if I could use that. So you've got your cruise control settings here, your lane follow, gap, which you can adjust, and I just like to keep it fully up, so I'm erring on the safe side. Then you've got your phone controls, Siri and talking controls. I guess it's the access audio. Okay, you can access Apple CarPlay here with this music button, I guess. So that's nice to have that on the steering wheel control. And then you've got these buttons. This changes the information that you have. So that changes the screen there. That's kind of cool. Yeah. And in terms of drive control, you pull forward and up for reverse, pull forward and down for drive, park, and neutral. You can set it to one pedal driving, which is what I have set it to. But also what's interesting is that the one pedal driving you can set for drive mode, but on reverse, it functions like a regular gas powered vehicle. So the vehicle actually moves backward automatically and you have to apply the brake. So when you select one pedal driving moving forward, just know that it's only for going forward. It's not for going back, which I'm not quite sure what the logic of that is, but that's one of the settings that they have there. And then here, in terms of other controls, you've got, and I appreciate this, your electronic side mirror adjustments. Again, like having these physical buttons here and not on the screen is really appreciated. All four windows locked and forward. You've got the front trunk, which I'll show you in a second here. And then we've got lane keep assist and then trailer controls and the parking brake that's there, which is really nice. And then there's some controls here for the trailer, which is also nice. So all in all, there's nothing special, nothing to write home about. But again, this is a utility vehicle and it functions really well, right? I don't have anything to complain about in terms of these controls. It's not going to blow your socks off, but it's got everything that you need. You had me at a wireless Apple CarPlay, so I'm happy about that. So overall, I think the driver controls and everything are pretty good. Okay, so let's talk about the seats. And again, I don't know if this is actual leather or faux leather, but the seats are really comfortable. Lots of space. You've got a really huge middle console here. Just absolutely tons of storage. I can, you know, put my arm almost up to my elbow in here. Lots of space. One thing that electric vehicles and a lot of new vehicles don't have is a space to put your phone. And that's this little slot. See, I'll move this here. That's this little slot here. I really appreciate that, to just being able to have a place to put your phone where you can see it. So that's really, really awesome. And then in the front here, you've got more deep storage. I mean, just like could put maybe a gallon of milk down there. That's awesome. You know, there's USB-C in the front down here, which is nice. And I think this is a wireless charge pad here. I'm going to put my phone down and just let you know, or maybe I'll say that in the description here and let you know that. So there's that, and then there's these side slots down here underneath by in the middle console where you can, like, you know, put stuff. So plenty of storage, lots of cup holders and everything. Sound system is, you know, it's all good. It's really clear, and I appreciate that. But I mean, this isn't, you know, again, a luxury vehicle, so the sound system is nothing to write home about. But yeah, let's get on the outside and take a look at things. Bit of a step up here. It's nothing fancy. There's no embedded lights or flashing logos or anything like that, but really solid door, what you would come to expect with a utility truck. Nice solid feel there. You've got the badge there, and then let's take a look at the front trunk, because that's what you really want to see. It's not automatic. It does beep, but it doesn't come up on its own. Okay, and there's a fair amount of space in there, probably enough space to sit down and kind of hang out, and it's nice and shaded. So you definitely be able to put a carry-on bag in the front here. And yeah, having a front trunk is really nice. You can lock stuff in here, keep it out of sight. Somebody can't smash a window and get in. So yeah, you've got your plug here, hard plastic on the inside. And then with Hertz, you've got this charger that comes with it. Like I said, I'm not going to use that, but it looks like there's some more adapter stuff, I guess. But nothing super fancy in this vehicle. It just works. I do kind of wish that this trunk was automatic instead of a manual, because it's kind of heavy. It's one of the really cool things about electric vehicles is that they have this space. So that's pretty cool. Big tires on this bad boy. I wish I had an occasion to take this thing off-road and see how it handles. But let me show you the interior in the back seat. All right, so we're in the back here. The doors open really wide, almost 90 degrees, so that's really nice. And then let me just hop in here and I'll show you how much space we have. Lots of space. I'm 5'10", but I've got plenty of room. I'm pretty sure this seat is almost all the way back. Plenty of space for 3 adults in this back seat. Really kind of nice back here. So, and again, this isn't a luxury vehicle, it's utilitarian. Got nice dome lights here, garment hooks on either side, and then a little bit of a storage here in the front here. You've got your AC controls. I think that's the only AC back here. So maybe things might get a little bit warm, but the air blows really well from the front. And then you've got another storage compartment further down here. You can almost like spray this thing down if you got messy back here. A little bit of storage right there. Dang it, got my pants messed up. But yeah, back seat is what you would expect in a truck. Handlebars right here. All right, let's get out to the back. I just realized that I almost stepped in a fire ant hill. I think this is fire ants. I don't want to find out, but we are in the south, so you gotta watch out for that. All right, so the back of the truck is pretty dope. What is this thing called? Back of the truck. You know, it comes down nice and soft, which is good because this thing is heavy as hell. I guess Hertz, you can request this. I didn't, but it came with it, so that's nice. You can keep it covered, but plenty of space back there. I mentioned that I wasn't sure whether or not this was the work truck or the consumer truck. But when you come back to the WT, so the work truck version of this. So this is the Silverado that first came out. I guess Hertz decided that they were going to buy some of these. I don't imagine there's a lot of customers that would be keen to drive this thing, but it works. It really works. So again, this vehicle is surprising in that if you're just renting it for Hertz, you're like, why would I want a Silverado truck? But there are lots of features in here that I think kind of shrink the feel of the vehicle to make it be manageable. It's easy to handle, brakes are good, acceleration's good, and you can't beat the range. The range is just really what kind of like sets this vehicle apart as an EV. If you had to commute as a rental, you should really think about the Silverado EV if they have it available. Now, the advantage of having a Tesla as a rental vehicle is the charging network is just, you know, so extensive. And part of the reason why I didn't want another manufacturer's EV for this trip where I was driving 200 miles was that the non-Tesla charging network I'm not particularly familiar with and is notoriously unreliable, right? There were no Model Ys available, but they had the Silverado. And again, I don't really miss having a Tesla. This is pretty sweet, very comfortable, practical with some surprising sort of like luxury-ish features to it, and you know, it's no nonsense. Right? Doesn't take a long time to get used to. You just sort of like spend a few minutes to get everything how you like it, and you go for a really long time. I still have 250 miles of range on this vehicle, and I've driven it about 130 miles already. So I think that like the final number on the range is not going to be over 400. It's hot. I've been cranking the AC the entire time, but we're probably going to end up, if I were to drive this all the way to empty, probably end up with 380 miles plus of range, which is just, you know, like you can't beat that. If I rent this vehicle again, maybe I'll spend some time charging it and let you know what that is like. But I also don't see myself renting this vehicle again unless, like I said, I was out doing some field work, and in which case I absolutely would choose this vehicle. And I guess that's one thing that I am happy about, and one practical use that I think Hertz could find a niche of renters. If you are someone who maybe does field research and is in the field, and you're concerned about your carbon footprint, flying somewhere and then on top of that renting a vehicle, and if you need a utility vehicle, right, you're going to have something that's probably not going to be great on gas mileage and be a pretty big polluter. But I absolutely would look to rent a Silverado EV if I were going to do the condo research. I would love to have an all-electric utility vehicle like this where I could go out to the field with myself, students, colleagues, they'd all fit in the back. Our equipment would fit back there, and we would have a really great time. We wouldn't be contributing even more to our carbon emissions. So I guess I think that's probably the only practical use I could think of having this vehicle. But I don't mind this at all, you know? It wouldn't be my first pick, but as a rental, it's still impractical. But it sure is fun.
Okay, so one thing that I did notice is the mileage is about 50 miles off. I've driven this vehicle about 250 miles total on this trip, probably a little bit less. I started out with about 420, 430 miles of range, and I'm showing 140 right now. So, as I mentioned before, probably not going to get 400 miles on a single charge in the late summer. Actually, this is the first day of fall, but in the South when you have to crank the AC on. And I did drive a bit aggressively for a bit, but just as a note, 420, you're probably not going to get that. So something to think about if you choose to rent this vehicle for any time in the field or whatever you're doing. You're going to get great range. It's going to beat every other electric vehicle that's out there, maybe with the exception of the Lucid Air and the Gravity when it comes out. But you're not quite getting 400 miles. If you've got equipment and people sitting in the back, then that's going to bring the mileage down. But I would expect that you're going to get over 350 miles, which is still fantastic. I think I'm going to go to the airport now and get situated, get on this flight and get home. But it's been real interesting. I'm going to do my best MKBHD autofocus impersonation. So this is a Silverado EV as a rental vehicle. I don't think it makes sense for most people. It's a cool truck. It's definitely something that if you have an opportunity to drive it, you definitely should, if it's not going to get in the way of what you need to do. But other than being a novelty and just being kind of neat that you can drive an electric truck with over 400 miles of range, there's not much else to it. So I'm scratching my head as to why Hertz would buy this vehicle for their fleet, but I'm glad they did, because I probably wouldn't have had an opportunity to spend so much time with what is a pretty cool but largely impractical rental vehicle. So let me know what you think in the comments. Have you rented a Silverado EV, or do you own a Silverado EV? And what do you think about it? And yeah, catch you next time.
I'm on my way to North Carolina for a very special event, and it just so happens that the Silverado EV is perfect for what I need for this trip. So stay tuned for a much more thorough, in-depth review of the Silverado truck for a road trip that requires some space to haul some stuff. In that video, I'll talk about charging and just generally the practicality of a road trip that's under 1,000 miles. Now, if you're looking for more of my regular content where we talk wild foods explicitly, then you might want to check out this video. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on